Hey guys, welcome to Lecture 7. In this lecture we'll be learning how to create arrays. So I'm going to call it Creating Arrays. Okay, so a big part of data analysis as far as this course goes will be array-based and matrix-based. So in order to do that, we're going to learn how to use NumPy to create these arrays. So the first thing we're going to do is import NumPy as NP. This will save us from having to type NumPy every single time. We can just write NP instead. One way to make an array is by converting from a list. So I will say make an object called myList1, and let's make a list of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now that we have our list, we can make an array. So I will make an array called myArray1. And the way we can make an array is by using np.array, and then we can pass that list as an object. So we can say my_list1, and let's go ahead and see what that ended up being. Great. So now we have an array that we made from the list. So that's one of the ways we can make the array. So let's go ahead and make another list. We'll call it myList2. And in this case, we'll just have it be 11, 22, 33, and 44. And now we're going to make a list combining those two lists we just made. So I will call it my list plural equals my list1 as the first object in that list, and then I'm going to say my list2 as the second object in that list. And looks like I forgot the underscore. Let me add that. And there we go. Okay. So now we have a list of the two lists we made. We can make a multi-dimensional array or a matrix using this. So I can say my array2 is equal to np.array, and I'm going to pass that list of multiple lists. So I can say my lists, there we go. And let's go ahead and see what that multidimensional array looked like, otherwise known as a matrix. Great. So you can see now we have both lists in the array. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 22, 33, 44. And let's go ahead and see what the shape of that array is. So since it's multidimensional, I can ask NumPy what shape it is by saying .shape method. And so it looks like it's a 2 by 4, which makes sense. So that means every list you passed in that list of lists created a new row. So here was your first row, and then here's your second row. All right, great. So now we know how to make an array and a multidimensional array from a list. So we can also find out the data type of the array. And I can do that by, in the same way I asked what the shape was, I can ask for the dtype by passing the dtype method. And it'll tell me the type of objects that are in that array. There's also special case arrays. So for instance, if you wanted an array of all zeros, you could say np.zeros, and then just indicate the shape of the array you wanted. So if I wanted an array, just a 1 by 5, of zeros, so just a straight vector. And there I have it, my 5 zeros. And if you notice, there's a decimal point there, and that's because they're a floating type. So to show you what I mean by that, I can say np dot, well, I can say my zeros array equal to np dot zeros 5. And then I can check the type. So I can say my zeros underscore array. And we just learned how to check the type. So let's go ahead and make sure they're floating, and they are. So they're floating numbers, which means they have that decimal point there. Excellent. Another special case array is an array of ones, and I can do that by saying np1s. And I can pass the shape here too. So I can say, for instance, a 5 by 5. So I'll make a matrix of 1s, and there you have it, a 5 by 5 multidimensional array. I can also create an empty array. I can do that just by saying np empty, and that'll be the same thing as just asking for zeros there. Okay, and then last but not least, we can make an identity matrix or identity array, and it's always going to be, well, almost always going to be a full matrix, multidimensional. And you can make the identity matrix by using EYE. And since it's a matrix, you'll have to input just a square matrix, so it's going to be a 5 by 5 in this case if I input just the number 5. So I can say Alt-Enter, and then here's my identity matrix, which is just a diagonal of a 1, and then everything else filled in with zeros. And then one way we can make an array that we'll be using a ton in this course is by np.arrange, and what that does is it's going to give you can input a start and a stop and a step size, and it's going to return evenly spaced values within that given interval. So I can say just 5, and in this case it's going to output 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And to get more specific, I could say something like start at 5, stop at 50, and do it in steps of 2. Let's see if it can make evenly spaced. There we go. So 5, 7, 9, etc., all the way in space of 2. So we'll be using this arrange method a lot throughout the course. Okay, so that's how you can create arrays. Just to do a quick overview, you can pass a list using np.array and input the list. You can check the shape and the type of objects in for those matrices or arrays. And then your special case arrays, you can say zeros, ones, empty, I, and then you can also create an array by just using arrange. Alright, that's it for creating arrays. I'll see you in the next lecture.